Hey guys, Southern Comfort here. Well, I'm trying to make some automatic water feeders, and I tried to do it like everybody else said, or things I've looked up, and that was to take a skill saw and drill around, all the way around the top, especially when you have one that doesn't have the top that you can take off. And I tried that, and it wasn't a quite success. First of all, the skill saw kind of kicked on me, which is not good. And then I started putting blocks in front of it so that, you know, maybe it wouldn't kick on me as bad. And so what happened was I got totally off onto trying to cut it out. It was kind of, I would say, dangerous. So what happened was that I ended up with a smaller one. And this is the damage. This is where I started off at, doing it like everybody else said. Well, I said the worst of the worst is that this could be a planter for the greenhouse, around the greenhouse. And my game plan was to put this on top. Well, it doesn't quite fit on top now, but it will keep the leaves out. You know, it'll keep the leaves out, which is really my focus. So as I was doing this, I said, you know, this is kind of dangerous, taking a skill saw. And, you know, skill saws are dangerous anyhow. So, I mean, you never know when they're going to kick back. They kick, they kick. And so I decided, you know, I should have went with my game plan to begin with. Maybe take a drill bit, drill a hole. The hardest part is that, especially with this being clear, there really is no lines. And so I should have went with my first plan, maybe, you know, drill a hole and then take a jigsaw. And after that thing kicked back, and this size and that size is a big difference. This took, as you saw, no time to do. But that is workable. But we're also working on this. Now, my original plan was to try to make feeders out of them. But, you know, my thing is here is that we're on to the southeast coast of North Carolina, and my concern is with the humidity, the rains, hurricanes, and so this would be okay for water, you know. So I've got another plan for the feeders, something that I can count on more so than what my original plan was. So at first I thought I just wasted my money, but as you saw, a jigsaw works the best. It is not bad. The reason that skill saw kicked back is it reached a thick point right there, and it was going around, but then it just got right there and it kicked. And when it kicked, it kind of took the saw another direction, which is not what you want. Now, if you had somebody that was holding the drum, that would be the way to go. But I would suggest kind of doing that just by yourself. I mean, it's a little dangerous. But taking a jigsaw is so much safer. So now what we're going to do is try to make these into waters. And, you know, I think this would be great because the purpose of this is basically just to keep the leaves out. You know, when fall comes, the winds comes. Some of these trees here always got leaves falling at certain times. It'll put out new leaves, and then it'll shed, and it'll shed its blooms. And so that's the purpose of these. So we're going to install these here onto our new watering system. This is from Rent-A-Coop, and I've got the ones that has the little house over it. Or you can get it without the house, or you can use it without the house. This keeps like straw and leaves from falling down into the cup. With this system here, it also has a little cup, so if it gets dirt and stuff into it, you can take the cup out, dump it out, put it back in here. Now what this does is that it fills up with water, and as the water empties out, then this level will go up, and then it will fill back up, and then it will go back down. So I'm not going to make this very complicated. I've got some cinder blocks here because I will be putting it up on cinder blocks. That's going to help me to know my height here. And I'm going to install one without the house for the fact that the rooster, I just wonder if he can get his head in there. I'm sure he can, but we're going to let him test it out. And so we're just going to drill a hole. It's got a little washer on here. You can take that washer off. Just don't lose it in the grass. And then we're just basically going to eyeball it, and we're going to drill a hole. Hopefully I can do this kneeling down. Of course, you're going to wash it out. Now what I did with, to get my bit size, it's supposed to be a 9mm bit. It was hard for me to tell because none of mine was reading millimeters. So I just took a bucket and took different bits and drilled into the bucket, not in this bucket, into a bucket until I got my right bit size. So I didn't want it too big and I didn't want it too small. And I got it just right. So I'm going to turn mine. Then we're going to take that washer and put it inside. And I'm not going to put these cups all the way around. My focus is going to be like this is going to be on one side, and this is actually going to be enough for us here. So I'm going to try to eyeball it again. Drill a hole. Take our washer off. And there we have it. So now we're going to fill it up with some water and test it out before we put it into the coop. So our water system is working and there is no leak. So this is going to be awesome. We'll just put the top on and put it into the coop. We got which sled. We just got a rainstorm that came through. So even though this top has got a little gap right there, it's no big deal. Eventually we're going to move it further in once we get the rabbit housing finished, the rabbit barn finished, and we'll move it further in. So this is going to be fantastic for the chickens. So let me show you the other water I got going on here. Hopefully you can hear me, but this is another automatic waterer here. This one right here you can clean out. Just turn the water on. It starts filling up, but I've learned something. If I slow the water down, it'll not flood so much out here, but fill the bucket up. But to clean this out, all you got to do, just like that, and you have a clean water for your chicken. I usually shake it. See how much water's in there? We turn it on just a little bit. I'm trying to holler with the rain hitting the tin, making my voice crack. So the old timers back in the day, when they had no plumbing into their house, and they brought water into the house, they used to put copper pennies into the water to keep it, keep algae growing in there, keep that water fresh. And so I have some copper pieces I'm going to be putting here into these containers. This is probably about almost 6 inches long, just some copper pieces that I had around here that I cut. And so we're just going to drop it in there, and we're going to give this a test. See if I can get this on and figure out how I decided to do it. So that even put a little snug, well, it's not supposed to be, it's not going to screw on there. But there's a certain angle on this that I can get it. And I'll have to do some adjustments here with that to, I only put a little bit of water in here. We're going to watch it, make sure it's not leaking. Probably have to level it some more and let the ground settle because it's wet right this moment. So we've got our automatic water feeders, and now I'm going to go put this into the other one. I think they like those cups. They've been drinking out of that one and not even this one. I'm going to see if I can not disturb them and get over here. If I can get over here. We're just going to drop our copper in there. And we're going to wash it. And see with them always, you know, with them, you know, eat and feed. Of course, they got their bucket here. And it got low. And I took and poured the feed on the ground. Because a little bit of dirt in their craw is really good. And that was the chicken. So their beaks get dirty. And a lot of people will use nipples. Well, when they use nipples, they can't clean their nasals. They can't clean their nose part there. They can't clean that beak part there. And therefore, their nose, their breathing part can get clogged up. So it's good for them to dip their beak into the water. So far, if I can get this out, I'm standing in the wrong position. They've already got some stuff in there. And so we're just going to dump that out, that easy. And put the cup back in there and it will fill up. And we'll check this one out. But basically, mostly they've been drinking out of this one. They'll get used to this. They're really checking things out right at the moment. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video. The rain stopped and I was like, oh yeah, I got to get out there and do that other one. Get it done, get her done. Get this new system going here. Because I like this one over here with the blue bucket. I really like it. But I also like this. So we are going to see how well things do here onto the homestead. We're right in the heat of summer. So you definitely don't want your flock to run out of water. You want to be sure to be able to keep that water cool. I take gallon vinegar jugs. They're more durable, they're thicker, and I freeze the water into the freezer, and I bring it out here and I put it into their water. So this is going to be a great way to keep their water cool during the summertime. See you on to the next video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on to the next video.